Hello there, it's Chris and Gav here, and we've just been having a good old look at the latest trailer for X-Men Apocalypse.
And it looks suitably apocalyptic, I would
It does
say,
indeed.
Gav.
Now, this I really like, because it opens with a bit of dialogue that we've kind of heard before. It's a little bit rejigged between Magneto and Professor Charles Xavier, and it's such a cool line. Like, we've seen Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen say it. This time, we're seeing the young guys.
Yeah, it was at the end of the first film, and this
Yeah.
time around, they've taken out the talk of the mention of the law, which, of course, the first movie was about, and this is just about them coming for your children.
Exactly. And the children actually seem to play quite a massive part in this film. Like, we've been having it in the other films, we've sort of seen their relationship advance, but it kind of feels like the kids and the young guys are what is take center stage here.
And we've been led to believe that Jennifer Lawrence might be front and center in these movies, and it feels like it's building up to that. There is Cyclops in a very cool pair of shades.
Exactly, and I think one of our first looks at Nightcrawler as well. So we got
wearing a very Michael Jackson-esque leather jacket.
Yeah, in the comics he does wear sort of this like weird red kind of leather thing with amazing Michael Jackson style shoulders.
The year is
well.
the year is 1983, so the timeline is about right.
Yeah, of course it is.
For thrills.
That's awesome. What a great find. Okay, so here we go then. Let me see a little bit of the mansion, and I really I'm looking forward. I hope there's a little bit of the mansion just up and running and just being cool before obviously everything goes to pot, because those are all my favorite scenes in the X-Men.
I want to see a
films.
teen movie just set in that mansion.
Imagine a TV show like that. That'd be so good. So then we're to Egypt.
Ancient Egypt, and I'm wondering how much of the film takes place here, because we do see shots all through the trailer from that period of time. But yeah, if you look there are two slabs
cool.
with two figures. One is human on the left, obviously. On the right, not so sure. I think that might be Apocalypse.
This is the thing. So Apocalypse, there we go. We can have a good look here as well. So we see Oscar Isaac in the first time we've seen him in this film without, obviously, his blue stuff on. In the comics, Apocalypse is the oldest mutant, and he makes himself even more powerful by merging with one of the Celestials. Now, they're sort of like the most ancient powers in the Marvel Universe. And it really does look like that's what's going on here. So we sort of see him, he's a mutant anyway, then merging.
Yeah, we asked Bryan Singer about the involvement of Celestials in this movie when we were on set, and apparently he would not commit one way or another, but he didn't outrightly deny. So I think we're actually seeing evidence of that here.
It's always really confusing, the whole Celestials thing, because they sort of link in a really odd way throughout all the comics, but actually looks like this is a really interesting way of doing it. It's straight off the bat, just, balls out, just going, this is the deal, this is what it is, and sort of going, this is what Apocalypse is, and I really like that.
And there we go. That's a look at Alexandra's ship as Aurora Monroe. One wonders if maybe when she turns to the side of Apocalypse, that's what turns her hair white. We don't know at this point, but
this bit here. So I think it kind of gives you the sense of sand maybe digging around, kind of excavating. And we saw at the beginning, Rose Byrne as Moira McTaggart talking about it. So I think, and she obviously knows a lot about Apocalypse. I wonder if kind of this is how Apocalypse comes into being in these films. Is he being awoken by Moira, possibly?
Yeah, and we know that the cult of Apocalypse is a thing in the present day. So maybe someone from the cult awakens him.
Yeah. I really like just casual Magneto. He looks like he's working in the gay steel mill from The Simpsons.
We imagine he's kind of on the run, because at the end of the last film, it looks like he tried to kill the president, and so I imagine this is kind of what he's been doing since we last saw him. So
look at the size of that guy's arms there on the right.
Yeah, he ain't going to be around for long though. They ain't going to do much good in a minute. Oh, and that is his eyes turning white, which is something we speculated about before, that when Apocalypse uses his powers, his eyes do turn white, and that looks like evidence of that.
Yeah, what I think is interesting here is he's obviously, this is him on his little recruitment drive. It's like those Ocean's 11 scenes where he's going out building his team. He's already got Psylocke and Storm on his team here. So I would have thought, he's going for Magneto straight away, but obviously that's not the case at all. And it almost seems like he's doing some convincing, because it doesn't look like he's coming like he really wants to.
Yeah.
And the same here as well. You see, he's sort of this weird reluctance here, I think. And I'm not sure if this is just jealousy, because he can sense just how powerful Apocalypse is, and he knows he's never ever going to be as powerful as him, or if it's some kind of fear as well, or resentment.
Yeah, and maybe he thinks he's a better proposition if he's got those guys on board before he comes to Magneto.
That's a good point, actually. Here, so it looks like Psylocke and Angel I think they're attacking the Blackbird here. Looks like they're flying, and that seems like the interior of the Blackbird. And we do actually see a newer or a different design of the Blackbird later on in the trailer. So I wonder if something happens to the one that we actually know. And this is all the four horsemen looking pretty badass. And here, I'm not sure, right, if... So everything this is a scene that we keep coming back to in the trailer where everything looks like it's been completely devastated. Mm-hmm. And this scene here, I wonder, is just before all that kicks off.
But it's definitely Egypt, so we know that there's going to be stuff's going to go down in Egypt. Apocalyptic stuff, I would say, Gav.
Stuff. So you see how many times we can get that into this Rewind Theatre. I like this here because you see Quicksilver's become quite a big thing.
I'm wondering what they're looking at here. This is a sequence in which we see what looks like a series of bombs taking off.
Yeah.
Rockets. So I'm wondering if they're seeing the aftermath of a bomb explosion here.
I think that's what's happened. I think basically these guys, this is the school, and they're watching this because we see a shot of the school blowing up in a bit. And I think just happened to be that there's a lot of students outside of the school, and they're witnessing it happen, basically. And this is here, I think, another shot of Nightcrawler there, and it's an amazing jacket.
And that's people watching all these rockets take off.
Yeah.
As if an apocalypse is starting.
So yeah, this is that shot of the mansion I said blowing up. So I think even though there's probably a lot of people who do lose their lives, I think obviously the main players possibly not inside when that happens.
No. But I do wonder if someone will die in this movie.
I like his Quicksilver's $6 Million Man t-shirt here.
Yeah, well, Bryan Singer was attached to direct a $6 Million Man movie, so I think that's him. Yeah, that's him making a little dig. Mr. Pac-Man in the background. I'm wondering if we could get him in the office to play Pac-Man against us.
Definitely. Well, that's obviously a thing that has to happen as well. Mm-hmm. What do you think about... I mean, every trailer these days does have to have some kind of sad, slow piano cover of a song over the top of it. What do you think about this? This is a singer called Clarity doing a cover of Coldplay's Don't Panic. Mm-hmm. Since I watched this trailer about 2 hours ago, that's all I've had in my head. Yeah. Unfortunately, like those are the songs that really get in your crawl.
Never liked the song, but I can see we'll be getting more. If this is a popular trailer, we'll get more Coldplay in trailers. So that's a thing.
And I really like the idea. We saw it a little tiny bit in Days of Future Past, where because obviously like. We know the heritage of Quicksilver being Magneto's son, and we had an amazing line from him. He's like, "My mum knew a guy who could do that in Days of Future Past," and I kind of like the idea. Like she really does give off the sense in just a really small scene, but she really does give off the sense of like someone who's been really jilted by a lover, and she's waiting for them to come back and sort of kind of resents them
specifically
a little bit.
By Michael Fassbender. It looks like in this.
And here we go as well. So this is, I guess, the main team that we're going to have. I quite like, again, you can see Nightcrawler in the background a little bit there. They're really cagey about showing his face for a while. Yeah. But you can see, like, this is the young team.
And the more of the really awesome 80s stylings.
Yeah.
This appeared in the last trailer, this scene. Yeah. So we're not sure exactly what this is. Some astral... planing going on there, or a dream sequence, or
actually that's actually what's happening.
Yeah, like, his godlike powers have allowed him to grow.
Well, that's the thing. Like he can do basically his powers are kind of vague, but at the same time he has complete control over all the molecules in his body, and he can manipulate himself to be whatever size or anything that he wants to.
Isn't Charles standing up and punching? Which is
he is there, I guess.
Well, mate, yeah. Maybe not.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really interesting to see what that sequence is going to be. Yeah. Now we see that's Jennifer Lawrence in front of a dull X-Men suit.
Really bad, isn't it? Like if you look at what they're wearing as well compared to what like Angel's wearing, it looks exactly the same. Like they got this, just a really massive job lot on a load of like armored suits. And as every X-Men film needs, a bridge exploding, because it wouldn't be an X-Men film without some kind of bridge exploding.
This looks like some kind of an apocalypse happening as I look at this sequence.
I'm definitely getting shades of that, yeah. So this is, I think, immediately after, because earlier when we saw Beast and Quicksilver looking at the mansion, I think this is him then rushing back to maybe... do some saving of the day.
And he's wearing a Rush t-shirt as he rushes. Which is a nice little in-joke.
I really like that mutant in the background there. He seems all right with the situation. Like, the whole mansion so he seems to have accepted his fate and is just like, all right, well, this is me then.
It's like he's posting for a catalogue. So I get a sense that Mystique there is kind of looking a little bit like she's in charge. Maybe I feel like there's a sense in the voiceover is from her, although we're not sure at this point which part of the movie it comes from. It feels like she's kind of taken charge of the team a little bit.
Yeah, it really does. Like, I wonder if that, like, I always think about this, like whether or not that was the plan all along, or just, since they cast Jennifer Lawrence and her career's just absolutely blown up, they've just gone, oh Christ, we need to put her front and center.
I think it's a combination of both, actually. I mean, they cast her for a reason, and she's always been a really important character, but obviously they can't ignore her now as well.
Yeah.
And maybe this is the last one she'll be in as well, because I think the contracts were for 3 movies.
Oh,
so
really?
We'll see
okay.
if this is a big...
Well, she says in this as well, forget everything you think you know. And I've put down, like, to be fair, I'm not really sure what the timeline is now with X-Men films and Deadpool and all this different stuff going on. I really like the idea she's going to forget everything you know, but don't need to, because I don't really know. This is an interesting scene. So we've got Angel fighting Nightcrawler in what looks like some kind of like octagon type thing.
Yeah.
They're betting on it, which is a big thing in the X-Men world. We've seen Wolverine fighting in a similar sort of thing. But this looks like it's definitely mutant on mutant that people are betting on. And we see him in his fancy pajamas. Lots of fighting going on in here.
Yeah, and this is great. We're seeing all different characters fighting for the first time on screen.
Yeah, which is really, really good. Like, they seem to be focusing a lot on Psylocke's sort of fighting and katana abilities rather than her telepathy in this.
Yeah.
But obviously, he's Apocalypse has chosen her as one of the 4 horse people. So you think...
And it looks like the world is ending around them. I'm gonna say it.
And here we go, Stryker. So
Yes.
the last time that we saw Stryker was in Days of Future Past, but it was actually Mystique sort of shapeshifting as Stryker, fishing Logan out of the river. So we're unsure here whether or not she's carried that on and she's still taking on a Stryker, or...
Yeah, I mean, it's notable that it's followed straight up with a scene of her transforming. But is that just to throw us off the scent? I like the juxtaposition there.
Yeah.
It could go either way.
Yeah. I like this new look Blackbird here, which actually really looks like a bird. So I wonder if, we have actually seen one being destroyed, and this is like a new look one, but you think if the apocalypse really is happening, who's got time to sit around making new planes?
Can we go back and have a look at
Definitely.
Mystique? So what is going on here? This is Mystique, but not naked, in a suit that we've not seen before.
Exactly.
Delivering a speech, potentially from the end of the movie. It feels like something that would conclude a film.
I think you're right, yeah.
When everything's gone down, but equally...
Yeah. But I don't think this is right at the end. I think there's another battle that we don't know about yet. We've seen quite a lot of stuff happening.
Yeah.
And I think that happens maybe sort of midway point. Then she really takes charge of them and said, you're not students anymore, you're X-Men. And this is them going out to properly save the day.
She's made no secret of the fact she doesn't like wearing... the blue paint, so maybe it's all because of that.
Maybe
they had to write around that.
And we've seen Quicksilver involved last film, and we've seen him. Obviously, he's a part of their lives here. This is the first time we've actually seen him suited up, like properly part of the gang.
Yeah.
His hair still looks so bad, though.
I know, but at least it's kind of matching the suit. And I've got to be honest, I like this suit better than the sort of dark armor suits. This is coming.
This is better, yeah.
Slowly but surely more in line with the comics.
Definitely. Here we go. So this is what I'm really looking forward to, seeing Cyclops really in control of his powers and actually taking people on, because he's such a powerful person to go up against.
And him and Storm fighting each other as well. Can we go back to it? I just like the idea of them pitting their strengths against each other. Yeah. And as my guys in LA told me, in X-Men 201, this fight occurs, and it's a really, really great fight. And they're actually in that one fighting for who takes charge with the X-Men.
Excellent.
We don't know the context here, but
that's cool. So yeah, again, this is them really focusing. I think that scene, that shot really looks a bit naff. This is an early trailer though, I guess, although it's coming out in May. But they are, just focusing on her sort of fighting and katana abilities.
So that's a shot of Angel that we saw in the previous trailer, actually.
Yeah.
That his razor blade feathers.
Yeah. Do you know who Angel's played by?
Ben Hardy?
Ben Hardy, yeah. Do you know what he's famous for in the UK?
No.
He's Ian Beale's son in EastEnders.
Ian Beale's son in EastEnders.
So,
Google it, Americans. Yeah. It's big. It is big.
He is probably the most naff horse person of the apocalypse, I think. Like, of his powers.
Will you say that to his face?
Probably not, no. And here we go. Alex Summers, also known as Havoc. So he can absorb cosmic energy and reflect it back as a weapon. And it looks like that's exactly what's happening here. Maybe him and Cyclops, because they're brothers, and come together at the mansion. Or maybe he's come back to save him.
He's played by Lucas Till, and he's quite conspicuous for his absence for a lot of this trailer. When they're suiting up, when they're on the ship, when they're in the final battle, we don't see him. So I wonder... we see him kind of... In the last trailer, he's kind of... His clothes are all sort of stressed and ripped. And bad things happen to him in this film. I wonder if we do lose an X-Men in this movie, if it's him. But things aren't going well for Charles in the background there either. He's in a lot of pain. So this... I like this, though. This is a properly dramatic way to end the trailer.
I really like this shot of Charles really just, again, in pain, crawling along, possibly trying to get Cerebro there, I think. Some really horrible, nasty stuff happening in this trailer, man. It's not ending well for some people.
There we go.
That's it. We won't have to wait very long to find out. It's out on May 27th.
Yeah, and let us know if we missed anything in the trailer. Pop it in the comments below.